I love him very much.
The monarchy's not dead yet.
For me, I like the Royals, always have done, and long live the King.
I'm a citizen of a democracy. I don't want to be a subject.
It's a good time to realise that this outdated institution is just a joke.
They're £250 million of the taxpayers' money for a man to sit on a chair, put a crown on his head, wearing a gold cloak. No.
I think it's a time that we abolish the monarchy, and I think, hopefully this is going to be our last king.
God save the king!
Now, we do have some breaking news to bring you. The leader of the anti-monarchist group Republic has been arrested by police.
Before the demonstration even got underway, police arrested 6 organisers and seized a truck full of placards. So far, there's no indication their protests were anything but peaceful.
Have you had any experiences with the police today?
To be honest, the only experience of the police today has been that they've protected us from some very angry Royalists along the way, which has been good and surprising, and that's what I would expect from the police, is that they should protect free protest. Obviously, they did arrest Graham Smith, which is for getting some banners out of a van on the suspicion that he might cause chaos, and that in itself is fascist. That in itself just shuts down any right to protest. That silences people. As an arm of this government, who are pretty dictatorial, I think generally I don't feel particularly safe around them.
Push back.
Not my king! Not my king! Not my king! Not my king!
No! He is our king! Go on, save the king!
I don't mind them protesting as long as they don't block people's view, because it's such a short second that we can't see anything otherwise, and those massive yellow flags.
Like any other party. But you can ask them by all means.
Take the yellow flag down! Take the yellow flag down! Take the yellow flag!
Just eyes on that. Just get a bit closer, have a nosy. Within striking distance. Yeah. And just give me the if you need me.
Police use controversial facial recognition cameras, searching for known troublemakers. One protester was identified by facial recognition technology and appeared to be the subject of the new police low tolerance.
You know, I see all of the cameras pointing at me, all the little things on a swivel, and then they're just like, there he is. I gave him a little wave, and then, next thing, hands behind my back, getting handcuffed. Snatch squad moved in and just dragged me out, basically.
I've been arrested just for being here! Not my king! Not my king! Not my king!
Why'd you yank the banner out of my hand? He's yanked the banner out of my fucking hand, nearly pulled me over. Why was he violent against me? I'm not even someone who got arrested. Move me out of the way. Yanks the freaking flag out of the way. Why?
This man's a peaceful
What's the point? I was
your
standing
colleague dragged a banner off him.
Yeah, this one here. Sergeant Page. Sergeant Page.
Feel free to make a complaint, we can argue about it later.
Sure.
Smug fascist. You know when you're on the side of the powerful, you're going to be exonerated.
Yeah, there you are, yanking stuff out of peaceful protesters' hands. Disgusting. Fascist. Disgusting. So embarrassing.
Have you been impacted by any of the protest action that's been
Yes, he was right next to us, and they dragged him out right next to us on the Mall. There was about 20, 25 of them, and the police just came straight in and just literally took them all out.
I think everybody's got the right to protest, but not today.
Just not today, not one day.
It's a one-off. It's a King's coronation. You know, I should leave it alone today and just let it be.
I think they should celebrate the King because the King is really environmental and he's been on about the environment when nobody wanted to listen to him. So suddenly, you know, they didn't want to know him then, and he's done so much for the environment and also for young people, for the inner city, you know, kids through the Prince's Trust. He's done so much. Today is to be celebrated. He's a man of the people. He's a man of the people.
The only thing that was a downer was the weather, but it's typical British weather raining. Apart from that, everything's been amazing.
I think it's the essence of Britain, really.
As part of being British, it's the history, it's the heritage, and just makes me proud.
Hillsborough 96! Sun newspaper scum!
And nobody does pomp and ceremony like the British. It's an institution. We do it the best. It's great.
I just saw a corner of the golden carriage. That was it.
We saw the soldier's helmet. We saw about that much of the sort of like fancy hats.
It's sort of the beautiful part of sort of how Britain's run. I just love the pomp and pageantry as well, but also that religious and spiritual dimension, which I think is sort of important to our state too.
Love the religious Dante.
Well, no.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. What brings you here today?
Well, I'm here for a simple reason. I think the crown belongs to the people and not a person. And I think this country's being held back from unlocking its true potential. And to be honest with you, I want to replace all of the royals with dogs. I think we can keep the pomp, keep the pageantry, and we'll have more jubilees and more coronations, and our money will look even cuter. Let's get this guy's face off a bit and do something proper for the future, eh? Voice is going a little bit. I've been shouting a lot, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Down with the crown! Down with the crown!
And you know what? I'll even do Liz a solid. The first one will be a corgi, just for Liz. And then we can switch and chop and chain. And, fundamentally, I think we've got to bring power back to the people. And what I fear the monarchy does, beyond just the injustice of a person sitting unelected, is it keeps power in the hands of those who are mates with each other. And it prevents us as a nation from truly being great. And I think this country was built on the backs of lovely individuals, hardworking individuals with their hands in the soil, not somebody whose slippers have to be warmed up from in the morning, guys. It's just crazy to me, and I think we can do better and we have to do better.
We do have a tradition of republicanism, which is not really taught at schools, but we have the levellers, we have the diggers, we have Thomas Paine is from this country, and all of those, but they had good ideas for organising a society, and I feel like maybe we should look back at those ideas.
For many, many people, they've taken it on as something they truly and deeply believe, and it's part of their identity. And to let go of it now would be really, really difficult. So I do understand that, this is not something that will change overnight, but this is a start.
What do you think we should have instead of a monarchy if we
I think we should have an elected head of state. I think we should, David Attenborough would do a good job. Everyone loves him. I think we'd all elect him if we had the opportunity. And I think we should have someone who pays taxes, and I think we should have someone who's not completely disillusioned and completely separated from the British public, who doesn't represent us, who never could dream of representing us because he's never lived a day outside of the gilded palaces that our taxes pay for.
Did you know that the whole of Regent Street is owned by the royal family? And they make more out of the profits from the rent from the Apple store than they do from the other 30% of the land that they own in the whole of this country. So they've got this untold wealth and jewels, and it doesn't reflect anything. There's like 14 million people in poverty in this country. There's more food banks than McDonald's and Burger Kings. It doesn't make sense anymore.
Apart from anything else, we have millions of people living in abject poverty on the verge of suicide every day. They get out of bed every day with the depressing thought, how am I going to feed myself? And these people are worth billions, and we, every single one of these people and a woman living in a bedsit are paying for it. We're paying for it. The obscenity of these filthy rich people not even paying for their own coronation is ridiculous and laughable, and we should wake up.
I think we ought to look at some of the positive things that a monarchy's done for us rather than look at the negatives. If you look at King Charles III, what he's done for charities and charitable organisations with the Prince's Trust, I mean, that's phenomenal.
So quite nice to have a sort of non-political head of state, you know, one that isn't elected and is above politics. It escapes the kind of bipartisanship that you get with, especially a two-party system like the United Kingdom. So yeah, it's a good thing to have for that reason.
I've sworn allegiance to the Queen, so you know, I'm an ex-veteran, so I'm a Royalist, and at the end of the day, why not? We could have a republic, but you've got to look at France and America. Is that what we really want? I don't think so.
When they get a president, they get a president. So what? It's like, you've got a president. When we got a king, we get a king.
So I guess the argument for the monarchy would be that it's supposed to sit above politics, it's meant to be unpolitical.
I think that's a very incorrect, naive argument. I don't think that we've seen. There's plenty in the news about how the monarchy have been exempt from tax, how they've been exempt from laws. They have a weekly meeting with the Prime Minister. I don't understand how that can translate into not having power or sway over government.
Well, I don't think the monarch does sit above politics, so I think it's a bit of a moot point really to worry about whether an elected person would. You know, we've got examples of, you know, the Queen's estate, which allowed themselves to not follow environmental protection laws. The royal family don't have to follow equalities laws. They had that written into their own legislation so that they wouldn't have to hire people, for example, from minority groups. I don't think they are democratic. There's loads of evidence from before Charles was king of him writing to influence, albeit for the better maybe, about environmental laws. But the point is they shouldn't be influencing things. I don't get a half-hour chat with the Prime Minister every week, and you can't tell me that's not an influential time. So why should he?
They never say, oh, the royals give their own money to charity, do they? No. They're the ones with the billions. Do they give their own money? No, they don't. They go around, they accept an invitation to a dinner, or they go and cut a ribbon outside a thing, and they want other people to give them money. That's the point. The royal family is all about getting other people to pay for stuff. You don't have to have a royal family in order to have charities. It's just a nonsense. It's the other way around. The royal family need the charities to help kind of whitewash them and give a gloss and to kind of put a lipstick on the ugly pig that the royal family represents. And when you think about the whole concept of royalty, everyone says, oh, it's descended down all the line. But every step of the line, the side branches, what happened to those? They all get cut off, right? The concept of royalty and the one heir relies on removing and getting rid of all the spares, right? It's an incredibly offensive way to run your, quote, family. You know, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. It's totally dysfunctional.
What are your opinions on the treatment of Meghan Markle? Are you sad that she's not here today?
I don't give a toss. I mean, it's nonsense. It's a soap opera. I care as much about Meghan Markle as I do a character from Coronation Street. That's all they are. They're just characters in a soap opera, in a reality show. And I think it really, really shows what absolute nonsense the whole thing is. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! It's nonsense! Wake up!
Datchet's a very royal village in many ways. We are within metres of the castle. We've always been a village that acts as a pass-through for the royal family. They're regularly seen through the village, coming from London, going through to Windsor. So I think, generally speaking, I would have thought the feeling towards the monarchy is pretty good here in Datchet.
Would you describe yourselves as like royalists, as monarchists, or yeah?
Even with my accent. And all those people who criticise, get a life.
The monarchy are ultimately nobody's but everybody's. We all have some kind of connection to our royal heritage and our historical heritage. I would rather, personally, I think I would rather have a monarchy than perhaps a president or a leader or somebody that is put into the position from a political point of view who maybe doesn't gain the majority support of the British public. So I think the monarchy itself is a great way of being able to identify as British without being obliged to a particular political persuasion.
Do you think that most of the sort of dissenting opinions are from, the younger generations, and why do you think that might be?
I don't think it's the younger generation. I think it's probably more that those that perhaps are not feeling completely comfortable with the lives and circumstances within which they live. And it's sometimes a bit too easy to look at your neighbour or to look at your surroundings or your environment or your country infrastructure and blame something else for something you're not happy with in your life. In reality, the things that make people happy are community, belonging, having a purpose and kind of inner peace. And ultimately, I think that's where people are becoming a bit stuck. They're looking at classes, be them political classes or upper echelons of society, and saying, well, they've got something that I don't have, therefore they're wrong, I'm hard done by, I deserve better and I deserve more. I agree, you do, but it's not always found in the possessions and in the amount of money somebody has. Find what really makes you happy, and I think the class system will become less of a problem to you.
William and Harry were working with us when we had the flooding in 2014. They helped rebuild some of the flood defences that failed on Eaton Road, and they also got sandbags and they sort of rebuilt the wall back and stemmed some of the flooding that was coming into Datchet. And out of the sight of all the other people, we had a great time. Yeah.
Just give us a sense of what you've been up to. Well, you could come and help instead of having cameras. If you want us to come. How are you enjoying getting stuck in? I'm really you guys are.
He was great, but he doesn't seem to be the same light-hearted guy that we had down here at the moment. But he's always welcome to come back. And if he wants to work on our flooding, we'd like to have him back. Anybody.
Do you not think that it might be sort of like the tabloid coverage that has perpetuated the sort of, the sentiment towards them and the negative sentiments towards them?
We'd like to have them back over here. We'd like to see Meghan aligned with the family. We'd like to see the children interactive on both sides of the family. And that would be really nice.
That whole situation didn't need to escalate in the way it did, and it's just a shame that it has. And it's just a shame that she felt she wasn't welcome in the royal family or in Britain, and they felt the need to go back to California, which is a shame, in my opinion. And also, it's a shame for the brothers that they're not. Again, I don't know how much of a rift they've had, but, the rumours are not good, are they? And it's just a shame that it's happened, in my opinion.
I'm glad she wasn't there yesterday. I don't think she'll be part of the royal family, and I think, really, there's going to be tears before bedtime. She's out for herself. She came into that relationship for one reason. I want to be first, I want to be an A-lister. It's all about me and what I can get out of it. And when she's done him over, which she will do, she'll move on. Want a private life, don't want anything to do with the newspapers, but we want to go out everywhere, we want to shout and, oh, look at us, and everything like that. It's a load of rubbish. It's just a load of rubbish, hypocrisy at the highest level. And Buddhists, I just wish they'd get on a plane, go over to a little island and live your private life, and we don't want to know. We was all happy yesterday at the King's coronation, and it was fabulous. The Mole looked absolutely fabulous, Buckingham Palace looked absolutely fabulous, and basically I'm a Royalist and I'm proud of it, and that's it. And I vote Conservative.
The younger generations are becoming a lot more anti-monarchy. Why do you think that might be happening with the younger generations?
I don't know, because when we were at school, you were expected to be in the Scouts, in the Cubs, in the Guides. And there was very much, shall we say, orientated towards the forces.
I think history subjects that they teach at school now are not quite the same ones that they used to teach our generation when I was younger. Going back a long time now, one of the first lessons you get in history and or geography is a map of the world, and all the red bits, the bits that Britain used to own, basically. You know, and I'm sure the emphasis isn't quite on that sort of thing anymore. So I do think the other problem as well is some of the members of the royal family haven't exactly covered themselves in glory, have they really? You know.
Which ones do you not think have covered themselves in glory?
Well, Andrew, for instance, which is a bit of a shame because he was like a hero when he came back from the Falklands, and you know, it's just sort of all gone downhill from there, really.
Prince Andrew, I think he's obviously a very privileged person, and I think he should have known better who to hang around with. He should have smelt that before he saw it. So really, he's only got himself to blame.
People forget he was a brave man. He flew a helicopter effectively to deflect Argentine missiles in the Falklands War. He was there to try and lure the missiles away from the ship.
People won't remember that, but will just remember the sleaze and the dirt, you know what I mean? That's what they're going to see.
I call trafficking something where somebody is taken against their will, not lured with goodie bags, which is most probably the value, most probably greater than both our annual incomes put together.
She wasn't that silly. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew exactly what she was doing.
I mean, she was 17, right? She was a minor.
No. If someone turned around to me at the age of 70 and said, we're going to take you there, I'd have smelt a rat. You wouldn't have got me going over there. No. They say they're lured. All right, there might be a bit of bribery or one thing or another, but they're not silly. They know. I'm sorry.
What would you do if you were the king?
If I was king, you don't want to know what I'd do if I was king. If I was king, don't know, if I'm honest with you. I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't know where to start if I was king. I'd keep the pubs open longer, that's for sure. Last orders wouldn't be at 11:30. The pubs would stay open till 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'd lower taxes. You wouldn't have to pay no tax. No tax
at all?
No tax at all.
How would we pay for, hospitals and roads and things?
That'd make the broke people stop claiming off the benefits, pull their finger out and get a job. Because they'd have to pay for their own injuries, wouldn't they?
I wouldn't want to take that job on. And I wouldn't want to take the Queen's job on either. People say, oh, it's all right. I say, no, it's not all right. It's hard bloody work, isn't it? She's got to be perfect every day, not just for half an hour, not for one part of the morning. She's perfect every day. And everyone around the world is looking at her. And how do you think Charles felt yesterday? Nearly three quarters of the country was watching him yesterday, plus all around the world. And when people say, oh, royal family, waste of time, they're not a waste of time. They bring a lot of trade into this country and they set standards. And maybe people don't like standards, but maybe they should look into their own lives and realise that basically they could take a leaf out of their book.
Let's try this one. It's quite new for us.
It's quite new for everyone, actually. So it might go fun. We'll have to see. You ready, boys?